Hi, I'm Junon Choi. I am a jazz guitarist and educator. In the last video, I said something very clearly. This is not opinion. This is written into the melody. Today, I want to talk about something even more important. Why most guitarists never get a chance to hear this in the first place. Let me say this first. If you feel like you cannot hear the harmony clearly, melodies don't guide your improvisation. Everything sounds disconnected. This is not because you lack talent. It is not because you don't practice enough. And it is definitely not because you don't have jazz ears. It is because you were trained to listen to the wrong layer of the music. Most guitar education trains you to hear finger patterns, shapes, and positions. You know what I mean? Those dots on the diagrams. You are taught to associate sound with location, not function. So when harmony moves with the time, your fingers move, but your ears don't. You are reacting, not hearing. This creates a very specific problem. You think you are playing through the changes, but you are actually just moving along the fretboard. Here's what happens next. Because you are not trained to hear melody as structure, you treat melody as something to quote, something to decorate, something to ignore once the solo starts, like every school musicians do. But in jazz, melody is not introduction. It is the instruction manual, blueprint, so that listeners can follow our journey during our improvisation. When you lose the melody, you lose direction, tension, and resolution. And no amount of theory fixes that. This is where voiceless jazz guitar resets the process. We don't ask what scale fits. We ask, what is the melody already telling me about this harmony? And that immediately forces your ear to move from, not only the ear move from, your eyes to the ear, so that shapes to the sound, the position to the function. This is not easier, I'm saying, but it is clear. I will keep this high level. You will hear the details in the example. So the step 1, the melody shows you where the harmony wants to go. Specifically, how the third moves through the circle of fifth progressions. This creates a framework line that already sounds musical because it is not invented, it is discovered in the tune itself. And the composers embedded those structure in the tune, our favorite tunes. So we should play along with the blueprint of the tune. If we don't do that, the listeners not gonna focus on my improvisation. They already lost what we are playing. So if we are playing Fly Me to the Moon, don't go too far away from the melodies. And if it feels like the listeners are not focusing, you can feel it. You will know it, even you are in your band, the stage. You should go back to the melody a little bit to tell the listeners that, oh, don't leave. We are here. This is our subject, right? You should throw some meat to the listeners, which is melody. And let's go on to the autumn leaves. So in autumn leaves, it starts with the pickup melody, but the pickup melody is targeting to the third of the chords, and it signals when the melody starts with when the chords is changing. So the other two tunes, like Fly Me to the Moon or the All the Things You Are, the melody is on the top of the measure, the first beat of the measure, and they are targeting the melody clearly. But in Autumn Leaves, the two measure is in one big flow of the melody, but the second measure, when the melody keeps sustained, the harmony, the third of the next chords happening, that is the signal to the you start the next sequence of the melody. I will show you what I mean. So we all know the melody of the Autumn Leaves. I am playing on key of the G minor. So first chord of the tune is C minor 7. The third being over here, E flat, and the melody targets these notes. And then when the chords moves to the next chord, which is this voice leading happen, it signals the melody to start the next sequence. Again, the third on the B flat major 7, and then the next chord, it signals to the melody that you can start now. This time again. Third, signal, melody. Third, another third is signals. Right? So the third over the chords and the melody of the tune is the step 1 every time. Once the framework is clear, upper structures stop being theoretical. They emerge naturally because you are building above a stable melodic center, which is the third. No guessing, no try this scale, just sound. So once we can target the third of every single measure, which is the E flat on the C minor 7, and the A on the F7, it becomes, that notes becomes the roots of the upper structure. So the E flat, we can play E flat major 7 over C minor 7. And then we target the A, and the A minor 7 flat 5 is our upper structure of F7. So even if I don't play the root while I'm comping, this becomes really good comping chord as well. That is how the piano players play their lines over and while they are comping themselves. Because the voicings like that, and the line is the same concept. If you have a voicing, and then if you can see the notes in between, that is your line right there. And finally, the same logic expands vertically, which is I already kind of played. Django line and West line. Same melody, same framework, different octave. This is where diagonal movement that you already saw, the Django line and West line becomes inevitable, not impressive. If this feels uncomfortable, that is normal. Because for the first time, you are not hiding behind speed, shapes, and muscle memory. You are forced to listen, hear, use your ear. And hearing is slower than playing, but this is exactly why players who learn this way sound calm even at fast tempos. Listen to Peter Bernstein while he is playing the fast tempo. You will see what I mean. Here is the good news though. You don't need to relearn jazz. You don't need more material. You just need to reorganize what you are listening for. Once that changes, everything you already know starts making sense. If you want to reset your listening skills, start with essential building blocks. It is free 2-hour lessons divided into 7-8 different subjects. And it is designed to retain your ears before your fingers. If you want to see how this logic operates inside the real solos, then Jazz Icon versus Insight shows you how melody-based thinking scales into professional level improvisation. I covered All the Things You Are, Fly Me to the Moon, and Unreleased autumn leaves, the one chorus each. Either way, don't blame your ears. They were just trained to listen to the wrong thing. Next episode, I will answer the question I get the most from my members and students. If melody is the key, why do so many great solos sound nothing like the melody? That answer changes how you hear every jazz solo from now on. So, until I will see you, keep swinging and make something happen in music, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.